So again, for folks that just tuned in, welcome everybody. We are here today talking about the future of location-based augmented reality. We've got a very exciting talk in store with some industry experts who are going to be sharing some really cutting-edge stuff. So we're excited to share. But before we do that, I want to first of all introduce myself. My name is Jacob Evans-Smith. I'm here representing an awesome company called Altimetric, which is a digital transformation company helping teams innovate and keep ahead of the curve with the ever-changing landscape of technology. I'm joined by my right hand, Ryan Robinson, wherever she is on your screen, and we're here representing a project called Collider. Which is it's part of the Altimetric team. It's basically a community of tech innovators. So if you are the type of person who is passionate about solving meaningful problems with technology, we encourage you to be in touch and to get involved with our community. We're constantly doing exciting stuff like this, touching on all types of different cutting edge tech. So we'll drop some links in the chat in just a moment. Without further ado, I want to go ahead and kick off the program here today. So again, speaking on augmented reality with a specific focus on GeoPose technology. So essentially, we're going to be looking at the implications of what exactly this means, but we're going to be looking at creating persistent objects that are observer independent, so multiple people can look at things at the same time from different angles and all sorts of good stuff. And those objects in the virtual space are actually tagged by a specific location. So it's much more accurate than GPS and all sorts of really cool stuff that our speakers will be able to explain in much more detail than me. But again, we're going to be talking about the real world applications of kind of this technology, as well as taking a peek under the hood a little bit in terms of the underlying technology of kind of what how this works, which should be great. So to kick things off, I just want to share who we've got joining us today. We've got Stephen Black, who I'm going to be handing it to in just a moment, who's a producer, writer, and researcher and visual artist who speaks about AR technology worldwide. He is, first and foremost, we're going to be hearing a video from Ori Inbar, who is the CEO of AugmentedReality.org and the producer of the Augmented World Expo. And then later, we're going to be hearing from Ali Hantal, the founder of XRMasters and a successful entrepreneur in his own right, who is going to be leading us in a demo of the technology, the GeoPose technology that I was describing. So with that, we are going to kick things off with a video of Ori Inbar, CEO of AugmentedReality.org, welcoming us to the program and explaining a bit about what we're talking about. Go for it, Ryan.
Hey, everyone, and thank you all for joining this meetup at the Collider. Many thanks to Stephen and Ali for inviting me to speak with you today. So why is AR on location so important? Why should every software engineer start thinking about literally adding another dimension to their creations? Because what separates the new wave of spatial computing, including AR and VR, from all previous computing waves, is that for the first time, it allows us to interact in 3D with the world around us, just like we interacted with the real world in the past thousands of years of humanity. And the new wave represents a tremendous opportunity for all businesses, big tech players, investors, startups, and most of all, users. So what's the state of augmented reality and spatial computing today? Well, starting with users, the pandemic was tough on everyone, but many AR businesses have started to see tremendous growth over the past year as demand for remote technology has skyrocketed. Today, over 1 billion users are using AR, which is a third of all mobile users. What do they do with it? They play, buy, create, train, navigate. And what about businesses? Well, based on a recent survey, 91% of all businesses have either adopted or plan to adopt AR in the next few years. And what about tech giants? Tech giants are facing stagnated growth with the mobile industry and are afraid to miss the next big wave. So they're investing billions and allocating tens of thousands of employees. I'm talking about Facebook, Microsoft, Google, Apple, Qualcomm, Amazon, and some others. They're all developing software and hardware products, including free tools that are helping AR and VR penetrate into the mainstream. And then you have unicorns like Niantic and Snap, which have put AR at the center of their strategy. And it has paid off in a big way. Pokemon Go brought in $5 billion in 5 years, and Snapchat doubled their users last year, largely thanks to AR. Investments and M&A activities also heating up. The focus has shifted to later stage investments, which is a sign of maturity for the industry. And what about smart glasses? Well, even today, hundreds of thousands of these devices are already being used for essential use cases in enterprises, mostly for remote expert assistance. And consumers are also starting to use it in various niche use cases, such as creators. You've all probably heard about the biggest AR deal ever, where the US Army invested $22 billion in Microsoft HoloLens devices. In 2021, over $2 billion worth of head-worn AR or smart glasses will be sold. We're talking about dozens of companies vying for dominance in the new spatial computing era. And of course, Apple's imminent introduction of their device in a year or two is expected to even further accelerate the adoption. We should see smart glasses in the mainstream within the next couple of years. I've seen a lot in AR for the past 15 years. I founded the first venture-backed startup in the States in 2008, was later acquired by Apple and became the foundation for ARKit, Apple's AR platform. Since then, I've also helped build the XR ecosystem. I founded AWE, which is the world's largest XR community, with a series of events, meetups, workshops, and really helping the community learn, connect, and grow. And since 2016, I founded Super Ventures as the first fund dedicated to investing in early stage AR startups. So I've seen a lot in it, but I can tell you that AR is getting into its most exciting stage right now. The computing infrastructure of the future is being built as we speak. The race to map the world in 3D is on, with startups leading the charge, but tech giants like Facebook, Apple, Niantic, Snap, and others acquiring these leaders. Just in the last 18 months, we've seen acquisitions of 6D.ai, Scape AR, Ubiquity6, Immersal, and many other startups in this space. The focus is really on creating persistent and shareable AR content that everyone can see anywhere they go. Currently, users may experience this on their mobile devices, but soon on smart glasses where AR is always on. So in 2017, I coined the term ARcloud to capture this idea. I believe that until the ARcloud is prevalent, AR will only be a cool tool. But with the ARcloud, we can see, interact, and create AR content in the real world in a way that persists and can be accessible by many, many users. And that completely changes the way we live and work. And as you'll hear today from Stephen and Ali, this tech is already here today. In the next few years, when AI continues to be tightly integrated with AR, it will help computers study the world, capture spaces and objects, and learn how people do things. It will allow us to accumulate the data and create a visual knowledge base about how the world works. I call it spatial Wikipedia, accessible to anyone, anywhere, right in their field of view. And this could improve how we do everything in our life and work across every single industry and use case you can think of. And along the process, we expect to see some new giants being crowned that will rule that new 3D mapped world. So here's the question for you. Are there any engineers in this audience that are ready to take on the challenge? In other words, can you afford to stay on the sidelines while the most important internet infrastructure since Google Index is being built? I invite you all to learn from Stephen and Ali and join the movement. Thank you very much. Really good to see you here. Take care.
Fantastic. Thank you for queuing that up, Rai. And now I'm going to pass it over to Stephen Black, who I mentioned before. He speaks all over about AR, has a lot of knowledge on AR, both in terms of the impact on industry and the arts and some different things. And he's going to be kicking it off with another quick video from James Jackson, the technical director of the OARC. Stephen, I'm hoping you can explain that in a bit more detail before you kick off the video.
Hello, everyone. I'm unmuted. Thank you, everyone. I'd like to thank the Collider. I'd like to thank Ali. I'd like to thank Ori. I'd like to thank Sayuri. I'd like to thank Julia, Catherine, Susanna Johnson-Sharp, and my mom. Little note, my mom and dad used to teach dance across the street and lived across the street here in Detroit years ago. Okay, the first time I came to the Collider was 3 years ago. And at that point, the technology was nowhere near where it is now. Things have moved very quickly. I came here with a little doll and I said, at some point, Boobico will be able to walk around and talk and do all kinds of things. In the 3 years since I've been here, that has become reality. And I'm so excited to be here for many reasons, but one is that Ali is actually going to show the AR projects in space. Usually we just have to talk about it in 2D, but later you'll see things that are happening in a 3D space. And you don't need a special lens, you just need a HoloLens or anything like that. You just need your phone. Now, I'm coming from a background of art, photography, video, installation, theater, all kinds of things. And to really understand this new medium, you have to have some basic technical knowledge. I'm about to show a video by James Jackson, who's the technical director for the OARC. And actually it's way over my head. But for this audience, I think it's going to be perfect because he talks about the back end. And then after this presentation, Ali's going to show some things in the space with actual models, and I'm so excited about that. So without further ado, this is James Jackson talking about the OARC from a technical point of view, from a software engineer's point of view. Thank you. I'll see you in a minute.
Hi, I'm James Jackson. In my free time, I serve as the Volunteer Director of Technology at ARcloud. My interests are around large-scale distributed systems, as well as using computer perception to solve global problems. So this lines up very nicely with the concept of an open spatial web. With a world that's painted in data, we can think of it as an evolution of the existing web that binds to core principles such as decentralization, openness, interoperability, and privacy. And when all of these come together, we can create some truly amazing experiences that put end users in control. Within ARcloud, my main focus is on the technology direction for the Open Spatial Compute Platform, OSCP. And I'm going to spend most of my time talking about what this looks like under the covers. Before I start, I should mention that ARcloud is a nonprofit. We're not seeking to operate commercial services, but rather to steer standards direction and create open source reference implementations. So this is a high-level architecture view of OSCP, and it's a rather busy picture, but I'll try to simplify it a bit. Let's start with a user. Imagine I'm wearing lightweight 5G AR glasses and walking through a city. We'll step through the various stages that enable an open spatial web. So the very first step is finding out which spatial services are available to me in this city. We call this spatial service discovery. And similar to a DNS hierarchy, it might be scoped to a country level, like a country top level domain. In its simplest form, this is a mapping of coverage areas and corresponding services with standard APIs. Some of those services are shown here, and they're scoped to subregions such as cities, generally expected to reside close to the end users in some sort of an edge cloud. So let's move on to the second step. Now that I have a list of spatial services I can use, I need to find my GeoPose. What is GeoPose? It's a highly accurate representation of my position and orientation, where am I facing, in a common real-world coordinate system. We're working with the Open Geospatial Consortium, or OGC, on standardizing this representation, and we're also developing a standard GeoPose localization protocol, which has already been implemented by some of our partners. Today, this positioning for AR is largely a visual problem, using cameras along with other sensor data to localize yourself into a pre-built map of the world. But in the future, there will be other important technologies that come into place, such as 5G positioning. So now that we know precisely where I am, we can move on to the next step, which is discovering spatial content or spatial experiences that I'm interested in. We call this spatial content discovery. This is sort of like democratizing search in the open spatial web. It has a decentralized architecture where multiple providers contribute to a common shared index. So if I place content publicly in the real world, that content should be discoverable by anyone. It shouldn't be restricted to those who are using specific services or specific implementations. It's sort of like publishing a web page. Spatial content records are just lightweight references to content and the associated GeoPose for that content. The actual content itself most likely lives elsewhere, as shown here. So if we move to the final phase now, this involves accessing and rendering the spatial content or spatial experience. And there are a few different pieces that have to come together. There might also be a cloud rendering service involved, such as NVIDIA's Cloud XR. But the piece that's most relevant to OSCP is the reality modeling language. This is where that highly accurate real-time digital twin of the real world lives. So why do we need this? Well, rich immersive experiences need to be able to interact with the real world in a seamless manner. If we look at some of the AR experiences we have today, they're rather limited in this regard. One of the simplest use cases might be occlusion. As an example, if I discover some spatial content, but there's a tree between me and that content, I really shouldn't be seeing it. But you can imagine that with really rich, real-time, machine-readable representations of the real world, you could build some incredible experiences. At the same time, we have to be really careful about the privacy implications associated with this data. So with that, I'll wrap up. Thank you so much for your time, and we look forward to seeing you join us on this journey to build the open spatial web.
And I know Stephen is, looks like you're typing to Andrew. Great, awesome.
I just sent an answer to Peter Kramer when in fact it should have gone to everyone. I apologize. We have a list of links here's the thing. There is so much information that I'd like to share, then there just isn't enough time. And I really would like to give Ali as much time as possible to show the presentation. So there will be a list of all the links that we have. Ask me questions, contact information. Here's the exciting part. Ali is now going to do a demo of AR, location-based AR in the physical collider space. And just so you know, this will be permanent. Once this is up, as long as the collider would like to have it here, we can leave this up. We could also do a new exhibition. You'll see that he's going to show a sample of something that I'm doing at the Irish Cultural Museum of New Orleans, and that will be a permanent exhibition. The first theme is soda bread, which starts in August. So again, so much information, I could talk all day, but instead I'm going to ask Ali to start.
I would like to start by saying that I am thrilled to be here with you. As I agree with Ori, augmented reality is at its most exciting times. As AR lovers, we have been talking about shared and persistent AR for a while now. And yes, I am thrilled to be able to use present tense instead of future tense. This is possible because of the convergence of major technologies. One of my favorite book is called Convergence by Charlie Fink. He explains there now how major technologies are converging to create the next industrial revolution. Here, I would like to show you a slide, which actually I love, and it's on our office walls. This talks about how spatial computing and artificial intelligence is giving the way to this new ARcloud era. It's not only actually this, but there is AI, big data, neuroscience, nanotechnology, computer vision, visual positioning. All of this actually is causing this new industrial revolution. But we're focusing on here right now for the Spatial Web ARcloud part of it. And these new technologies have already begun to change many aspects of our daily life, especially the way we see and interact with each other, experience our surroundings. What a magical word is experience our surroundings. Isn't it the very reason that we are alive? To experience life, to have fun with our friends, with family, to fall in love, play sports, hang out and web surfing, having kids. So the more compelling the experiences are, the more we enjoy them and the more we remember them afterwards. When they impact us enough, we keep them as memories, which ultimately forms who we are. As we are about to take a giant leap forward in the way we use the internet and how we interact with each other, how we train our teams or educate our kids, and how we do business day-to-day life, all will be augmented dramatically in the coming decade. What I mean by what's going to happen, actually, this slide explains pretty well is all of everything that we've been used to for the last 35 years, 2D screens, flatware, is going to change to spatial wear. You've seen this slide earlier on when Jan was presenting, Jan Erik, director of ARcloud. I love this slide because it explains typing is going to turn into gazing, hypertext is going to turn to hyperspace, responsive web, responsive XR. So what this means actually is instead of the experiences we're used to, like click on click and something changes on your screen. Now, this is going to be gaze activated content, or it's going to be your proximity based content. If you get closer, I'll be showing you examples of all of that. And that is why this new revolution is going to change completely how we actually live our day-to-day lives. So I would like to show you what Michael Porter said in 2017 in the spatial review of Harvard Business Review about augmented reality. Michael Porter and Mr. Heppelman said, there's a fundamental disconnect between the wealth of digital data available to us and the physical world in which we apply it. While reality is three-dimensional, the rich data we now have to inform our decisions and actions remains trapped on two-dimensional pages and screens. This gulf between the real and digital worlds limits our ability to take advantage of the torrent of information and insights produced by millions of, as Michael Porter liked to say, smart connected products, SCPs worldwide. In other words, the current state that we receive this torrent information is not natural at all. Think about this slide, again from the Michael Porter, James Heppelman article in 2017. Augmented reality reduces the mental effort needed to connect to digital information about the physical world with the context it applies to. Look at this, how we do every day when we're driving. There is a 2D screen and we're trying to find a place, but the cognitive load is here to match that GPS data on, two-dimensional screen to the real world. Now, if it happens like is it on the right side, or a better one to show is if it is happening and sensors are in place, you can even see like in the middle photograph, the car in front of you is like how far it is at. The sensors, it's detecting the distance and giving you information. Look at how this life would be when you compare it with regular 2D instructions. And it doesn't even end there. Now, I would like to show you two examples. One of them is, this is by Kaiichi Matsuda about 4 or 5 years ago, and it's a bus ride. This is not going to be a great example. So look at it. Now, we talked about AR coming in, making our lives easy, but this bus ride example shows you when, now he's gonna get up and look at around. Everything is open. There are ads, there are instructions on where to go. There is like some other ad showed up. There's on the left side a religious message, on top there's please rate me, and then you get out. Everything is on top of each other, and look at that. This is really tiring. So augmented reality world is not going to be like this. Let me show you a little better example, again from Kaiichi Matsuda. I think this work that he's done is amazing. For long time ago, he did this 4 or 5 years ago. So look, this is actually a layer. So we're not going to go to websites. We're going to talk about layers now. See, on the right, as he approached, by his proximity activated the content on the right. So coconut, and it just tells you 220 and upgrade your kennel, whatever. So it's basically talking to you about your contacts. And it is the way it should be. This slide that we use a lot at ARcloud too is a slide from Leap conference in 2019 by Magicverse. I love this slide. It shows how these layers are going to show up. So there's going to be the physical world, and then there will be digital, mobility, energy, some others. And basically, we will be choosing what layer we want to be able to visualize. I would like to show you a few cloud-based AR that has been done in the world. So
sorry to interrupt, Ali. Just a couple quick questions in the chat before we move on. I just want to make sure. So one question was, how are you actually seeing the content? Are you wearing special glasses? Are you looking through your phone? And then the other question was about web AR. Do we see this experience moving from just a mobile experience to web experience? If you could chime in on that quickly.
Yeah, great questions, actually. Yeah, currently, this is all, we can do all with mobile applications. And this is mobile phones, Android and iPhone with AR Core and AR Kit. But the best part about this is if anyone invests in this technology, when the AR glasses are out there, you would be able to utilize the same content and the way you developed all your world and the metaverse or mirror world, you will be able to utilize glasses as well. So there are HoloLens and Unreal and current other glasses that are capable of doing this, but those are expensive ones. That's why the best news is what I will be showing you. It will be done by an iPhone, and you can be doing it with iPhone 7 or up is better, but I mean, and same way in Android. So this will be how we can use on mobile, which is all mobile friendly. The second question is actually web AR. Currently, at ARcloud, actually, we've been working on a project called Sparkle AR. That's focusing on utilizing web AR technologies to be able to visualize on ARcloud, to be able to localize yourself and visualize everything there. It's still under development right now, but it is coming. And at one point, we will not need to download an app, and that's in the horizon. And again, we are definitely working on that as well. But any other questions?
Oops. Yeah, we got one more, which was on slide 6 in the middle image. Curious if that's like a way to see it in action. Is that a live demo we could see somewhere?
Which
or
one?
Is that just an image? In slide 6, there's the overlay on the cars.
Yeah, this is not currently live that we have a demo of, but companies are working on these sensors, which has to be on the car, right? Your car has to have these sensors. And that is actually the future of the smart world, autonomous world. The cars are able to do these things without visualizing. That's how they drive. But currently, we don't have a solution as this is for us. It's a futuristic look. But there are companies, car companies, are definitely working on that, and there are demos coming up soon, I believe.
Perfect.
Should I continue?
Yep.
So I would like to show you what Dallas Cowboys and AT&T did. This is a stadium AR example. And here, the fans were able to visualize the digital content using their Android or iPhone mobile devices. They were able to see the information at the same time, at the same place, and it was a persistent and shared AR experience. So you can see that this would be an amazing experience when we have the glasses, like you guys are saying. Like when the glasses hit the market, this is going to change the revolution. The new era is going to completely change its face to a very fast, and we are expecting, as Ori said a little while ago, Apple is somehow rumored to come up in the next years. That will be changing the game for sure. And another example that I will show, but before that, let me show you how this is being done. For this all to happen, we need the digital twin of the surrounding. And for that, I would like to show you a slide. 3 steps to ARcloud quickly is we first need to go to the surrounding, to the area, and scan and prepare a 3D point cloud, a digital twin of the surrounding. Then we will create content, 3D models, holograms, and then what we'll do is we need to place them on the area that was scanned, and next thing you know is you can go there with your phone or AR smart glasses, and you will be visualizing. This is what we'll be doing today. Now, I would like to show you another example which shows actually this digital twin of a city on top of the actual one pretty well. This was done by Snap, and they actually worked on a city painter app that was demonstrated in October of last year. For this experience, Snapchat team scanned about 15-20 blocks in London. And as you can see here, the digital twin right here was just placed on top of this part. I have another slide for that too. This is the digital twin. It is just placed on top of the actual physical world. And that's how now we have the ability to be able to show consistent, persistent, and shared AR. You can see that here, everybody's painting, and people are seeing what the others are painting, and they can paint on top of their what they have painted. This is the world that we're going through. And if you can imagine what we'll be living through, not only games, in lots of other areas, and we'll be discussing that and at the Q&A as well. So this is that exact portion that I showed you. This is how we do the ARcloud, and that helps us do these type of things. What we have done as XRMasters, which I'll be talking about us a little bit, is an AR aquarium project. This was in Taksim Square, done with on-site viewer, Augmented City, Open ARcloud, and Superverse TV. What we have done there is we have placed 30 plus augmented reality objects on the Taksim Square, and it was shared and persistent. You can see that it was shared. Let me get the sound off. Yeah, you can see that it was shared, and this is a great example for occlusion. See that the fish goes around the building and it was occluded by the physical building, and these are all making the reality, the augmented reality experience a lot more realistic. Now, I would like to show you how we scan. Scanning is done through a mobile app, and you just stand at a point and then you spin around. So basically we're taking photographs of the surrounding and scanning the surrounding. Then the app shows you where to stand next, about about 6 to 10 feet, depending on where you are, you scan the next point. So this takes a little bit of time. And then, of course, once you scanned, here is the point cloud of the square that you can get. It's the digital twin. And once we have this, and once we align it, geo-align it on top of the actual world, then we place the content, and placing the content, then we actually see all this AR exhibition very realistically when there are occlusions happening. Any questions? Okay, so let's talk about a little bit about us. What we do is we are an ARcloud agency, and we work with our partners to create experiences. But what we are actually very good at is we would love to make sure that ARcloud is known to the world. And that's why we work with different partners to show how we can make this visible and how we can make this more understood by the world. So we have worked with several brands around the world since 2015 when we started working on VR. Our name was ARcMasters at first, then we changed it to XRMasters, and we've been working on ARcloud technologies over the last 2 years. What we are working on right now actually is great projects. These are projects in progress. And you can see that there are the other logos here. The reason is that we work very closely with Novaby, and Augmented City is the platform, ARcloud localization service platform. These three companies work very closely in consortium, and Novaby actually is the creator and the producer of this project. And Augmented City provides the localization services and the ARcloud platform. And what we do is we develop the applications, and we actually create the content activations of all sorts. And Novaby is doing all the production of the 3D models in these projects. But this project is a great project. The AMP project actually has started as remembering the AIDS crisis. And what we do there is there are AR placemaking on the real world that engage with public arts and artwork, and also with community stakeholders. And the experience gives you the understanding of AR using ARcloud. And there is I will be showing you the one video around here. So give me 1 second, the video. Sorry about that. Yeah, sorry, I got back. It doesn't work. Well, the video didn't work, but let me continue. So AMP actually does AR placemaking. It's an AR placemaking project that engages with public artworks and stakeholders to create an AR experience and a history-based journey that remembers and reflects the AIDS crisis and collective community action that helped bring about the change. The stage 1 of this project was delivered about 2 weeks ago, and there was this Chinese scholar tree that you can, you can localize. Yes, I'm glad it started working. Yes, so this is a very good example of that. So there is a Chinese scholar tree there, and you can see that you can localize looking at that tree. Localization means when you look, we understand where you are, and you'll be seeing that more often. And this tree actually is amazing because it represents everybody who died of AIDS. And when you go there, it starts telling the name of each person who was lost to this AIDS. And as you see, when the leaf takes off, you can hear the person's name. This was a phase 1 of the project, and this is not even
George P. Hope.
You can see the names are also coming if you can hear the sound. So this is phase 1 of the project, and we are just showing you, this is not even open to public yet, but there will be a lot more coming in, and we will be making the design and the artwork a lot better. So follow us on that. The next project that I would like to talk to you about is Real Richmond. This is another AR placemaking history experience along Monument Avenue in Richmond, Virginia, is being created for and with Richmond public schools and the community stakeholders. It will engage visitors in an inspiring and thought-provoking journey about how history is made and the role of public art in that endeavor. These both projects are scheduled to complete in September of this year, next month. I would like to show you another one. This is the airport AR finding solution that we're working on. So remember the cognitive load that we were talking about. This would be when you just type in your flight information, and instead of looking around trying to find your way, you would be seeing all these arrows on the ground, and you would be following that up. I mean, in today's world, lots of people, especially little elderly people, don't like to travel international. Actually, before COVID, I'm talking about, because they didn't like the connection type and they don't feel comfortable. Think about this type of a solution where they can have an ARcloud assistant helping them. Now, another point that I would like to show you is rich experiences and content activation in ARcloud. I would like to show you what we call personal spatial messages. So everyone will have a personal space. And think about it, it's your wedding anniversary. You're out of town, but fortunately, you've previously captured and scanned your living room. And you can log in to your ARcloud service provider's online spatial content management platform. It could be web or mobile. And you went ahead and remotely placed these post-its, AR post-its, which could be 3D models, which could be anything actually, that when your spouse comes home, this video worked right away. When your spouse comes home, finds these post-its, happy anniversary, there's a surprise for you, and then walks through, there's another one spatially located right in your living room. Don't forget to feed the dog. So this can be done all remotely. You can actually go into a web page like you're going in your email account, Google email account. You can just put these notes in your spatial place, in your spatial living room, in your space. So these are rich, and other rich experience and content activations are, I can show you. This is one of my favorite ones. These other ones, I will show you a live demo. So I'm not going to show all of them, but basically this is a fish that is a goldfish that is running away from you. And anytime I get close to it by 2 meters, 6, 7 feet, it actually, you can see that is running away from me.
And Ali, somebody asked about how the fish stays stable even when the camera's wobbling. Is that the GeoPose at work, or how does that work?
Yeah, actually, once the device is localized, which means once with the GeoPose, the device is actually orientation and all is done, we know where it is, then the content discovery works, and we discover content. And once discovery is done, what happens is the technology actually is no more, you don't need the localization anymore, and all the content is set. anchored there, there. And what happens is now you are walking and they're all anchored by their own GeoPose to the place around you. And then after that, ARKit and ARCore picks up. So when you're walking around, now it's not much different than tap to place regular AR experience. I think we're getting time. So I'm actually, the next slide was actually my live demonstrations. And this is what we're going to be doing today. We will be going around and seeing some ARcloud action in the Collider. Let me now get into Zoom through my app.
And Ali, while you're doing that, we have one more question come in. When you have a second, what are the file size limitations for experiences in the OpenAI cloud?
There are file limitations currently, but the good answer before the limitations is they can be all done remotely rendered. And actually, not only that, if we can get the new NVIDIA ARcloud solution with an edge compute server on the location, then we're also able to do realistic, photorealistic experiences. So now when you're working with the cloud, if the file is too big, of course, download times gets into place. But when you do this, like remote rendering, and when you're doing actually through an edge compute server on the location, then you don't have any type of these limitations, especially when we have the 5G edge computers coming together. So that's why the future is a lot more brighter than what we do. It's going to be photorealistic. Before I close my screen here, I would like to talk to developers, especially software developers who, like Ori said this morning, should be looking at how to do ARcloud. We are organizing as OpenARcloud. We're organizing with partnership with Recite and Augmented World Expo, an ARcloud challenge, Connected World of the Future. This is going to be starting with workshops. So the participants that do not need to know anything about ARcloud, and if they feel comfortable about development, we will be having workshops about different partners, different GeoPose location service provider partners, and we will be having workshops. Then partners and participants will be matched, and depending on if they understand, they agree on a project, then they go forward. And what we do here is the quick tentative timeline is we already are open for call for participation until August 1st. So anybody interested, I would really recommend to get on the landing page, which can be found on awexr.com's spatial events section. But also, if anybody wants, I can type this link to the chat. Give me, so that everybody who is interested can actually get to it. Yeah, I will be doing it in a minute, but this landing page explains everything. One great news is each selected final entry will receive a free speaker pass to Augmented World Expo 2021 in Santa Clara. So I am stopping right here, and I will be sharing my screen.
Projects that I've been working on. One is the Soda Bread exhibition. And again, that is going to be happening at the Irish Cultural Museum. We did some preliminary tests, which we're going to see. And then the final exhibition should be set up sometime in August. He's also showing a project that we're doing for Moe's Bagels in Denver and Boulder. And that features some music by Antonello Arzulli. I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. And this is also a work in progress. So again, it's amazing how much has happened since I've been here last year and 2 years ago. All this technology, I would say, has been tested, but in a public scale, it's all less than a year old or so. Okay, I think we're ready to go. Okay. And I should also mention, this is my first time to meet Ali in person. He flew in from Houston a few hours ago, and a lot of things are coming together. Jan Eric, if you're watching this, I'm sorry we didn't get a chance to show your incredible video, but that's in the links.
Perfect. So what I'm doing is right now, when I start AR, the localization service is getting in place and localizing me in this room. We have mapped this room before, and the first thing you see is soda bread. This was a New Orleans project that Steve just was talking about, and the Irish Cultural Museum of New Orleans, Maith AR is the logo, was actually here having the this soda bread exhibition. And you can see, if you get close, this was in their space in New Orleans. There were different types of soda breads, and you could see details about that in 3D. And it's shared and persistent AR. Then we have the Bubico flying here, and it's, as you can see, it's animated as well. And when I turn over here, what we have done is we put the Altimetric Collider here and the logos. One thing about this logo in here in XRMasters, it's an on-click activated content. So when I click on it, you will see that there is content coming up. So this is one way of activating content. And there are other contents here that we will be activating. For instance, there's one more, which is going to let some goldfish that we like a lot go out. Here we have a gearbox. This is an actual gearbox that was designed and produced for in a project in Turkey with actually Microsoft, and this is being currently showcased in the Microsoft manufacturing core in Istanbul through MES sample factory called MESS. It's one of the largest sample factories in all the showcase in Istanbul, Turkey. When you look at this one, this is another content. And if you get close to it enough, it should activate the content, which, finally did. So this will go up, and then like SpaceX rocket, it will come and land back to the launch pad area. So if I would like to show you one more thing with these, you will see that these are shareable. And what I mean by shareable is what I will do is get the app on Steve's phone, and you will see that when Steve's phone also localizes, actually, it will be seeing the same content once it downloads. So it will be seeing the actual exact content that I am seeing here. Just needs to download. They're taking time to download, but maybe these have downloaded. You can see that this is a shared experience. Now, one last piece that I would like to show you is what you have. It's still downloading for Steve, but what you've seen, the 3D, 3 steps to capturing and then making it from these great looking captured to creating 3D digital content. And then this is how you visualize the 3D steps that you have already seen during our presentation. So this is actually going to be staying here, and we will be working more on this. I would really recommend you join us with ARcloud Challenge at Augmented World Expo, so that Altimetric developers can come here having ongoing live AR exhibition is. We will be keeping these here so that when you come back to the Collider, you can download XRM Spatial Browser app from both iPhone or Android stores, and you would be able to experience this yourself. If there are any questions now, we can go to a Q&A session. Yeah, the content should be uploaded to the ARcloud first, and that could be any specific content server. Doesn't have to be one. We can definitely work on any content server, but we have to upload the content to the server. And once it's uploaded, oh, I can show a placement, how we do the placement if we have time, Jacob. Should I show, because that we forgot to show that. Localize, and I will be localizing. And when I do, now this does require admin rights, so you wouldn't be able to place it unless you are admin on XRMasters app. So we localized successfully. What I'm going to do is, like, again, you would not be seeing these. I can either manage my content, I can see everything and I can delete it, or again, these are all coming from, when I say place, these are all coming from the content. And what I can do is, for instance, just put locate here another Bubica flight, and I can select anywhere I like, and I click. Now what I can do is I can select the very left button, I can move it around, or I can make it smaller or larger. I can turn it around, or I can make it higher. And if I place, it will ask me to relocalize. And what I will do is I will start AR experience again. And here's the small one of it. And then when I turn around, you will see that the large one is here as well.
Thank you, everybody. As we go a little bit over time here, we appreciate your patience as we worked out some of the audio kinks. There are a few more questions trickling in, but I think what we'll do is actually we can just have folks ask questions after the fact, maybe in our Slack or something like that, or by email.
Sure, definitely.
What we'll do is we'll share Ali's email in just a second. Ryan, if you could do that, that'd be great. And at the same time, just wanted to say thank you so much, particularly to Ali and to Stephen for putting together this presentation. We really, really appreciate your insights. I learned a ton just through listening in here. Basically, we would love to be hosting more content on AR VR. So I'm excited. I saw Moody was in the room. If you're still here, Moody, we'd love to get back on the horn with you. Ali, we'd love to be doing more of this type of content. So if you enjoyed this, look out for more similar things in the future. I'm sharing a couple of links so that you can stay connected to us. Again, we're representing the Collider team, looking to bring technology to the forefront, helping folks keep up with innovation and problem solving through technology. So anything that fits that description is what we're interested in talking about. And yeah, without further ado, again, we're going to be sharing more information in a follow-up, as well as information for our Slack channel where we can continue this conversation. So for folks that are, if you self-identify as a tech innovator, passionate about solving problems with technology, please do join our Slack channel, which we will share in just a second. And we can keep the conversation going there. I'm sure Ali would be happy to join us, as well as Stephen, and we can take it from there. Here's a link to our Slack. We hope to see you there, and we can continue the conversation. So with that, thank you, everybody. I really hope you enjoy the rest of your day or night, depending on where you're tuning in from. And until next time, have a great one.